Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, March 29th in the year of 2022, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom, brought to you by the Best Girl Consulting Firm. So, last week, I told you about my speaking to my friend Sam Johnson's honor class and what a wonderful experience it was. It is. This week, it's longtime friend Andrew Jackson, Andy, or Big Home, we call him. At certain time periods in his life, he went by all three. I smile when I think of him. This past weekend, Andy texted me, and it's been a while since we communicated. Andy's text was in the form of a letter from Howard Davis, chairperson of the Grambling Legends, Inc., and the 2022 chairperson for the Grambling Hall of Fame. If you're familiar with college football, especially black college football, you're probably familiar with Grambling and its legend in black college football. Its legendary coach, Eddie Robinson, Super Bowl winning quarterback, Doug Williams, and many great athletes it has sent to the NFL and to many careers in society. The letter to my friend Andy began, "Dear inductee, the Grambling Legends Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors and the Induction Planning Committee are pleased to recognize and honor your outstanding athlete. You will be officially inducted into the Grambling Legends Sports Hall of Fame in July 2022. Your contributions to the athletic program as a student athlete have brought honor, recognition, and fame to Grambling State University, the place where everybody is somebody. Your career choice and life paths have enabled you to be a prominent alum of whom we are extremely proud. We appreciate and thank you." Andy was a gritty football player, an offensive lineman back when they didn't weigh 300 pounds. Andy was an athlete, a pulling guard. Andy could round that corner and in football talk, look somebody up. He also had been a student when that wasn't given the emphasis it is today among athletes. I texted Andy right away, and we had a subsequent phone conversation. We shared that kinship we've had now for over 40 years. I met Andy after finishing my career as a student athlete at Auburn. Andy had finished at Grambling. We met in training camp. We gravitated to each other. When the team folded, we both ended up coaching at Parker High School in Birmingham. We had a blast. We were letting the wind blow us wherever it may, and at some point, serious life set in, and our contact became less often. Marriage, life, children, my moves to other states. We didn't lose contact, it just became less often. But now, out of the blue, Andy hits me with this. He is going to be in the Grambling Sports Hall of Fame. I am so proud of you, brother. It's awesome, Andy. Awesome. Okay. Our G-list guest for today is another former athlete, Loretta Freeman Booker, a mental health specialist and doctoral student, and we're looking forward to having a great conversation with Loretta. This edition of Tuesdays with Thom, of course, is sponsored by our partners, the Best Girl Consulting Firm. So Best Girl has been providing customized solutions to executive issues for over 34 years. Let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
It's the solution that fits your needs. So let's get to our roundtable regulars and introduce Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker, who has been gone for a couple of weeks. So let's just start off with Miss Barbara, and we'll get to Michael after that. Barbara, how are you?
Good morning, Thom. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you today?
I am doing great. I'm doing
Good.
great. I'm gonna get right to the hottest topic of the week: Will Smith and Chris Rock. So I
Yes, it's
woke
been a
up
lot of talk.
Monday morning and I had a text from you about that. I did not see it live. Um, so let me just get your comments.
Well, Tom, yeah, it was a different Oscar this year for sure. Ceremony. I don't condone violence at all, never. But I can certainly understand, based on some research I've done, why Will may have reacted the way he did. Um, from some of the research I've done, it seems that Will has, in his book, I think the very first line, first chapter of his book, he says that, and when he was 9 years old, he watched his father abuse, mentally, physically, verbally abuse his mother, and how after all the success he's had in life, how he still feels like a coward and a failure because he didn't defend his mother. He stood there and didn't say anything, didn't try to defend her at all. And when if you looked at the recordings, when Chris Rock first was telling the joke, Will was laughing. And I think when he looked over at Jada's face, his wife's face, and saw how hurt she was, um, I think that's when he just snapped, and he went into that, now I got to defend the woman that I love. I didn't do it before, but to save myself in the demons that he's been dealing with all these years of calling himself a coward, he felt like he needed to do something. Again, I don't condone it, but I understand why he did what he did. That still doesn't make it right, but I think that's, I've been there before. I watched someone say something to my sister when she was basically on her deathbed that made me angry enough that I was ready to fight. I didn't want to upset her, so I didn't do it. But it took everything I had within me to just hold myself back and not strike someone for the actions that they took or the words that they said to her at that time. So I sort of understand.
Let's get Michael on, and we'll just do a little round table here and
Okay.
get his opinions. Michael's been gone for a couple of weeks, so he'll tell us about that. But also, so Michael, I didn't know about the condition, I
Mhm.
guess, that she has. And when I
Right.
saw them on that before the Oscar show, to be honest with you, I just, there's so many different hairstyles today, so many different looks.
Right.
I really didn't think anything about it. I just thought
Right.
it was the way she'd chosen to wear her hair. So I didn't know that it was an insult. Uh, um, I didn't think it was cool to say,
Right.
even if it had not been disease or what have you.
Right.
I wouldn't have said it. But anyway, Michael, your thoughts?
Well, good morning, Barbara. Good
He
morning, Tom.
smiled.
Good morning. Welcome back, Michael.
Well, thank you. It's glad to be back. I missed you guys and all the viewers. Happy to say hello to all the viewers, and I'm happy to be back with you. Yeah, I had a couple of pre-commitments from a business standpoint that I just couldn't get out of, so I had to honor my commitment on that. So,
I
with that
understand.
being said, and the Will Smith, Chris Rock saga. I feel bad overall for both Will Smith and Chris Rock,
Mhm.
but I must commend Chris Rock the way he handled
Yes.
the
Yes.
situation, and he kept his poise. And
Yes.
as of right now, what I heard this morning, his concerts are selling out now. As a result,
Mm.
everybody wants to come to his concerts. So,
Right.
and I heard the one here in Atlanta. I know the least expensive ticket is $300 and it's sold
Wow.
out already. So
Wow.
good for Chris Rock.
Yes.
Uh, he handled himself professionally and with class and what have you. On the other hand, I feel sorry for Will that he felt that was what he needed to do.
Right.
You know, and Barbara, I heard what you said, and I do recall that, hearing about that, and you know, I think there's something that Will has to deal with within himself, and
Yes.
he needs to look at a different alternative. I can understand him wanting to defend his wife, Jada, and of course, hindsight is 2020, and far be it for me to say how I would have reacted.
Right.
But I would have hoped that I would have just had a one-on-one conversation with Chris.
Right. And from what I understand, there had been some, I think in 2016, Chris Rock hosted the Oscars, and he made a comment, a negative comment about Jada and Will at that time. And again, the research says that Will had a conversation with him, of course, off record at that point, saying, please don't ever, do this again. Don't embarrass me and my family again. And so when it happened the second time, again, I think he just lost it. Yes. But for our viewers that may not know, Jada Pinkett Smith suffers from alopecia, and it's an autoimmune illness. And so, that was the reason she shaved her head, because she said she couldn't stand just watching her hair fall off like that on a daily basis. So, and it can be traumatizing for a woman, especially with someone that works in the industry, in the movie film industry. That's your beauty is your contract. You basically you feel like that may be what gets you jobs, or and for her to lose so significant to her, I think it was really hurtful to hear someone make a joke about it.
Yeah, well, I agree. She does have alopecia. I heard that too. But and I also heard about the 2016 type situation between Will Smith and Chris Rock. So there could be some history there, bad blood or what have you.
What did he say in 2016? Anybody know?
I don't exactly remember. I know Barbara May, I just kind of skimmed over, but it didn't seem like it was all about a whole bunch of to do,
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was either, Tom. It's been a while. I do remember the incident, something happened. They were not even at the 2016. I think Jada said they were not going to go because there was they were protesting something.
Yes, I remember now. I remember
right.
She was boycotting the Oscars, is what she was. Mm-hmm. And I remember Chris Rock said something. He said, well, for her to boycott the Oscars, and these are his words, not mine, it would be like me boycotting her panties. I wasn't invited, nor was she. He said,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, so they've had some previous history there. And I think after that incident, Will had talked to him off camera and say, hey, man, please don't do that. Don't embarrass us like that. And keep my wife's name out of your mouth. And so when he tried it the second time, I guess, like I said, I think Will just lost it. It's like, man, we've had this conversation before.
Do you think Chris Rock knows that she has that alopecia condition?
I don't know. That's never been confirmed whether he knew or not. I have read that the writer said that it wasn't in the script. They didn't write it in the script. It's something he just added. So I don't know if anyone will ever know, and he'd have to tell us whether he was aware of that or not. And at this point, I haven't seen him make a statement.
He's from a business standpoint. He if all his concerts are selling out like that, best thing he could do is not say anything.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
But I think he's pretty popular anyway. Michael, I think he's been selling out concerts even before this incident. So I don't think it's elevated him that much. It may have certainly helped him. I think a lot of people look up to him. He was definitely a hero in that moment for not striking back or, not, acting in a negative way. So, but he's always been popular in the last couple of years anyway. So he's definitely been selling.
And he's always gone after people. I mean, he goes after people.
And most comedians do, they do.
Exactly.
The only, and I think, again, I think the difference is now he went after someone with a medical condition. That would be like someone talking about someone who has cancer and they've lost their hair or, something like that. That's just not the right thing to do. You kind of tend to stay away from those type of issues.
Well, I'd like to just say, I don't know, in the defense of Chris Rock, I'm not trying to defend him, but he was kind of making a joke in comparison because Demi Moore did a film where she was a Navy SEAL, she shaved her head. Yeah. And so Jada Pinkett was doing something like G.I. Joe or something like that. And he made reference to the movie and said, I can't wait to see it. And So,
Right.
but back to what you said, Thom and Barbara, that comedians always go after people. Thom, especially in basketball, we always said that a team that likes the full court press doesn't like to be pressed themselves. So I liken this, comedians don't like to be gone after, because Will Smith goes after people too, because he's, he's a jokester too, right?
And at the beginning of the show, the three women went after Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
Pretty hard.
They do it all the time. Again, and to be perfectly honest with you, people have gone after Jada and Will
before
for years. The entanglement situation. That was the butt of jokes for a long time. Yes. And I don't think Will or Jada, either one, was angry about that or struck back at anybody. Again, I think the difference here is it was because it was Jada's, because it was a result of a medical situation with Jada, and how deeply that hurt her. One of the shows that I was listening to said no one knows what Will has to watch Jada go through. She may be crying herself to sleep every night because she lost her hair, or she can't eat, or there could be a lot of trauma to her life just because of the alopecia and losing her hair. And again, if he's having to watch all of that and then hear someone joke about it, that may be what set him off. Again, still not condoning what he did, but just trying to find a way to explain why it happened. I don't know.
We'll see. I thought overall the show was good.
Yes.
I thought they did a good job with it. I thought the three hostesses did a great job.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it. I didn't up until that point, and then of course that changes the whole conversation.
Yes.
When that comes up.
And kudos to Will Packer, who was, I think, the producer of the show.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was
young brother from Atlanta.
Yes.
I remember when he started not too long ago. Maybe 20 years now, who knows? But yeah, he's done a great job. And from a business standpoint, and having been in that business, I think they did a really, really good job. And they started out the three women. She said, we got three women up here and we don't make as much as one man, and so they started out.
Yes. That's what they do.
Shooting darts at people. Exactly.
That's what they do. But I want to also say I applaud Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry for coming over to Will. I think it almost immediately after that happened. And during the commercial break, I understand they had a conversation with him to, say, hey, man, chill out. And I think Denzel even said at your highest moment, that's when the devil comes to attack you, and you have to be careful and watch yourself. I'm paraphrasing, of course, what he said, but something to that effect. And so I applaud those two gentlemen for trying to help control the situation some.
Yeah, and they also said that P. Diddy was trying to be peacemaker also.
Yes.
So,
I saw that too.
Out of that.
Yes, I saw that.
It was a good show despite the distraction.
Yes.
I enjoyed the show. I'm at that point in life where I take naps in the middle of programs now. And so when I woke up in time for the slap. So
no, funny. Too funny.
Yes.
Let me just run one other quick thing by you guys while we're here. You remember Michael O'Neill was on one of our first G-List guests. Michael is producing a short film called Bound.
Oh,
and
okay.
Bound. And he had a what do you call it? A fundraising thing, whatever.
Right.
And they had a goal of, I think, 29,000, and they reached the goal in 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And so he will be moving forward with his film. I'm sure we'll get him back on at some point in time. For those of you who don't know, Michael O'Neill is an actor. You can look him up. He's been in the business a long time. We're good friends. We go way back. And so I'm very, very proud for him and happy for him, as well as my friend Andy.
Yes.
Andy was probably 6 feet, stretching it an inch or two, and probably went about 220, 225. But this was back when offensive linemen couldn't hold. Now they can hold legally, and
Yes.
it doesn't make sense to me how you call holding from not holding. But when they're
Right.
holding, they're all holding.
They're all holding. Yes.
But Andy was great. He played at Grambling, and we were both at the Birmingham Vulcans at the same time. And so I'm really proud for him to be in
That's
the Grambling
great.
Hall of Fame. That's very special.
Congratulations to both of those gentlemen.
Yeah, that's certainly. Anything else you guys got? Michael, you've been hiding somewhere or whatever. So we
He's
give
been
you some
busy.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
got to
I
go
do
ahead.
have something else, and thank you for that, Thom. Keeping in unison with our theme of Women History Month, and it's all that it's the Final Four, and we have the women's basketball tournament going on, and the men's. I'd like to make an announcement about it first. Your team, Thom, the San Antonio Spurs, they're going to organize the first ever all-female broadcast for Women's History Month. And
Wow.
that will be tomorrow when the Grizzlies take on the Spurs. And they're going to have a pregame show with all women, Michelle Beadle, April Marie, Shayla Hudson, and Katie Goodman, and Shelby Coppage. They will meet before the game and talk about the game, do their analysis and their takes and all of this. So this is the first time this is happening with the San Antonio Spurs. And what I understand, I think the Los Angeles Clippers are going to do that. And you may have seen a couple of broadcasts where there were women doing men's college games and what have you. So that's what this is about. And so hats off to the Los Angeles Clippers. The Utah Jazz has also assembled a group of women to do this, and the San Antonio Spurs, they're going to do this tomorrow. So hats off to them. And one other thing that got me to thinking, and I decided I wanted to find out who was the first ever woman to play basketball that was, as you could say, acclaimed. And that goes to Lucia Harris. She was born in February of 1955 from Mississippi. She played at Delta State University, and she's considered to be one of the pioneers in women basketball. And to note, she was 6'3". She played center for the women's team, but she was the first woman to ever be officially drafted by the NBA. She was drafted by the New Orleans Jazz in 1977. She was a 7th round pick, the 137th player overall selected.
Wow.
I understand she never played a game. Is that correct, Michael? Did you read that?
Well,
I saw some research on her.
Yeah.
I saw that she was drafted, but I don't think she ever played in a game. But Zia, that's phenomenal.
When she was drafted, she made the team. So
yes.
And unfortunately, we just lost her. She passed away January 18th, 2022.
Yes. Okay. Good. That's great, man. Thank you, Michael. That's great. You guys got anything else?
Thom, I have one quick thing. I want to congratulate my great nephew, KJ Wright, who received the highest honor award for the Hoover School System. He was a recipient of the Finley Award on last week. I attended that program on last Thursday. And last Friday, the University of Alabama held their Women in Business Conference and Awards dinner. And a dear friend of mine who I had the pleasure of introducing, Shirley Muir Potts, was one of the honorees, and also one of my sorors, Lieutenant General Gwen Bingham and Catherine Hornsby were the 3 award recipients at that event. So great event hosted by the University of Alabama.
Okay, good deal. Well, let me back up and say that my friend Andy's induction is in July, and so we will have him on the show either right before the induction or right after. And he's looking forward to it. And I don't know when Michael O's film is coming out, but I'm sure that we'll do something with him as well. Okay, anything else from anybody? All right. Well, thank you. So let's get to our G-list guest for today. Hollywood has the A list, and on Tuesdays with Thom, we got the G list. It's Women's History Month, and our G list guest is Loretta Freeman Booker, mental health specialist and doctoral student. Been knowing Loretta for a while. Loretta was a great athlete at Auburn University, and I'll just go through some of her credits here. She was a team captain in high school. She was a 4-sport letter winner and leader as an officer. A 4-sport letter winner is not easy to do. You've got to be excellent at 4 sports, which is not very common. She had 300 scholarship offers, and she accepted a full athletic scholarship to Auburn. As a power forward at Auburn, she set the school record for rebounds in a season, led the SEC in rebounding, was second in scoring. During her senior year, she was a unanimous first-team All-SEC selection, a Kodak All-American, and was named SEC Player of the Year. And there's a lot more, but I'm going to go on and get Loretta on here so we can get going with the questions and answers. Good morning, Miss Freeman Booker.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. How's everybody else?
Oh, we're
Doing
doing fine.
Morning,
We're
love.
doing fine. I'm going to let Michael and Barbara start off with the questions, and then I'll come in afterwards. So, Barbara, you guys all both know Loretta, I'm sure.
Yes.
Barbara, let's start with you.
Good morning, Loretta. This is my home girl and my Auburn University fellow alum. Yeah, I got nothing but love for Coach Lowe. So,
Okay.
yeah, super proud of her and all that she's accomplished and is still accomplishing. And Loretta, I want to ask you about that. You've accomplished so much. I mean, you've traveled overseas. You played overseas and have multiple degrees now. What is your proudest moment? What is the thing that you're most proud of in life right now?
Boy, that's an easy one. My children,
Yeah.
my 2 girls, and being the best mom I can be to them is my greatest honor, and being a good daughter to my mother, I guess.
Yes.
So I really don't, when I hear people read my accolades, I really don't think about them. It's just something I do. So I don't really look at the accolades as an accomplishment. It's just what I did, but that's not who I am.
How has women's basketball changed since when you played, or has it changed?
Well, it's changed in the fact that women are more visible now, and they're given the same opportunities. I think the playing field was a little unequal. We're still second, and that hurts. But Title IX kind of leveled the playing field, and we're growing and progressing in that area. But I think women now are bigger and stronger, and they're showing it's okay to be a female athlete now. When I was starting out, it was kind of shunned upon to be athletic, and we called tomboys, and it was not as celebrated as it is today. So I think that changed. The way they look at women athletes now has changed tremendously.
Michael?
Yes. Good morning, Loretta and War Eagle.
Well,
I want to say, first of all, congratulations on all the accolades and everything that you accomplished. And you're right. There used to be a time where female athletes were looked upon as tomboys. But nowadays, I think female athletes are showing that you can be athletically gifted and still be a lady at the same time, And when you think about it, men could play football and basketball and still be a gentleman at the same time. So it's good to see that evolution. Let's talk a little bit about the technical parts of it. Thom introduced you as a power forward. For those that may not understand, I know what a power forward is. My daughter played power forward at Wake Forest. But could you tell the viewers what that means to be a power forward? And also nowadays they're calling them stretch fours. So talk a little bit about the power forward position, playing power forward, and the stretch four.
Well, I actually was recruited to Auburn to play the 3 position. which is kind of strange. And in the pros, I played the guard position, the big guard position. So a power forward is kind of like the post that's most versatile. I think we're as a power forward, you're the most versatile player on the court because you can play guard and you can post up, you can shoot the ball, and you can defend on the perimeter as well. So I think I guess playing stretch four was something because I was a great rebounder. As you know, I led the stats don't lie, but being a rebounder, I had to change positions, and they wanted me closer to the basket, and that made me a better rebounder, I guess, because I had to play against some much bigger players. But I always say it's not the size of the, that
you can say it.
Go ahead and say it.
But my motto, I'll just say this. My motto is the bigger they are, the harder they fall. That competitive spirit in me allowed me to play against much bigger players. And at the stretch position, I could, step out and shoot. So they, it was very hard to guard me in that power forward position.
So in other words, you were a matchup problem.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Very much so. Because, from my size, people look at me and size me up because I was, I know I'm right at 6'1". So playing against 6'6", 6'4", 6, bigger posts, it was challenging, but at the same time they had to guard me too.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So when we always talk about professional basketball, 99% of the time we're talking about men.
Right.
What's women's professional basketball like when you played and now?
Well, I will say that it, just like in any other industry, women are seriously underpaid. That's first and foremost. Like when I came out and played, one male salary, one NBA salary could have paid every female in the league $1 million, and still that player still would have been a multi-millionaire after paying every girl in the league $1 million. So the pay is still very much in there. There's no equity there. But having the experience to play is what we took advantage of playing pro basketball. Because there wasn't a league in the States until they allowed us to play, and so we were pioneers coming out. And I played in the ABL, which was the first professional league, and just having that opportunity to play the sport we love and be able to share our gifts and talents with the world on the playing court was an opportunity. So we consider ourselves pioneers when this league first started. And then when the WNBA started, there was competition, and of course the NBA backing, made us have to, consider other options, either join the big money or find another career. And a lot of I chose to go into coaching, and some other, people went into other industries, but the ones that defected and went on to the WNBA, and to see it prosper now is still great, but having to play, in a different season and having to, still be second to the men is kind of like a slap in the face. But at least women are having the opportunity to play the sport they love. And like I said, it's never equal, but the opportunities are still there for us to further our careers and continue to play if we choose to do so.
Michael, Barbara?
I'm glad to see that the WNBA was established, and of course, women are getting a better chance of playing here in the States now. But so many of the former players at the collegiate level are having to go overseas to play. And talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind, because I think you actually went overseas for a while and played.
Yeah, overseas was awesome. I mean, I felt like I feel like I was Michael Jordan for a change. It was learning a different language, a different culture. They kind of embraced us. It was a lot of pressure because I left as player of the year in the SEC, so the expectation for us to be great one of the things I liked about playing in Spain and playing overseas and playing in those different countries is the respect they have for women's sports.
Mhm.
And we were put on a pedestal. I got the, I love the bullfights and the different activities I was able to attend. I got to study at the best universities. I went to the University of Salamanca in Spain. It was awesome. I learned language and culture,
Wow.
the Spanish language and culture. I had an interpreter, of course, to walk around with to make sure. But it showed me that the world is much smaller than we think it is, and that we're just alike. It just we may speak a different language, but it connected me with a whole lot of different people, and it kind of broadened my horizons. I was like, man, this is awesome. So there's a lot of opportunity overseas to see some things you've never seen, but also to find out who you are. So bringing, it made me appreciate what we have in the States, in the United States. So I think that I grew up when I went overseas, and
Right.
Yeah.
so it made me it made me better understand how people, they come from other countries feel when they, I couldn't speak the language when I arrived in Spain. I couldn't. My Spanish was like from high school, so I didn't really speak the language well. So I know how someone feels when they come to the United States and they speak a different language now. So I can put myself in that person's shoes and have more empathy for those foreigners that come to the United States, because
Right.
over there they roll out the red carpet for Americans.
Yes.
I mean,
Wow.
everything is translated, and you have the Spanish version and the English version. When you come to the States, they get in where you fit in. So
Right.
it's very much a welcoming experience. And being African American overseas, I feel like a queen.
Yeah.
They embrace,
Well-
that I never had to deal with that racist thing.
Yes.
So,
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You kind of slipped it in that you were the SEC Player of the Year. You just let that little part run
I
by.
heard that, Tom. Let's just kind of ease that
let
in.
me tell you why I emphasize it. I had the honor this year to attend the alumni. We had the tournament in Nashville, and I played professional basketball my last season in Nashville. So it was like a homecoming for me.
Right.
And in the SEC media guide, they had all the players of the year, and they messed my school up. They had my name correct, spelled correctly, and the year, but they had Tennessee. So I was
What?
about that. They had, I know Tennessee has a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. Probably 97% of the SEC Player of the Years are from Tennessee. But I was like, of all the things they could mess up,
Right.
Yeah.
that's why because that bothered me. And
I
gotta
don't blame you.
But the commissioner, I did meet the commissioner and the coach, Miss Tiffany, and I talked about it, and I joked about it, and I was really nice about it. I said, there's an error in that one. Can you fix that? And he told me he would take care of it. So
Good.
So in other words, you didn't do the Will Smith, huh?
no, I took the high road. I kind of laughed about it, and it hurt, but
Right.
I didn't lose a step out of line. I feel like I need to represent myself and my family and Auburn the best way I can. So I just talked to him privately.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We really appreciate that, Coach Love.
Yeah, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Well, Loretta, I want to ask you this. Your other sport, which is track and field,
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed that you set a record of being able to high jump 6'1" and a quarter inches. So could you tell us, some of those who may not know what the high jump is, tell us about that. And then the back end of my question is, were you able to transfer that over to the basketball court and slam dunk in a game because you can high jump 6'1"?
Oh boy. But the only thing I'm dunking now is donuts. So.
That would be all of us, Lo, so don't feel bad.
But I guess Thom mentioned it earlier when he talked about my high school days. But yes, I was a volleyball player, a basketball player. I ran track and played softball. So in all the sports, what happened, the reason I even decided I was going to compete in track, I met Coach Rosen, Mel Rosen, my senior year in high school at the state meet, at the state championship. I had just broken the long jump record, the high jump, and the triple jump, the long jump record, the triple jump record, and I was on the apron, and I just broken the high jump record, right? And my coach came up to me, and I was attempting to go higher. I jumped, 5'10" in high school, and I was attempting to go higher. And my coach came over to me, and we needed a leg. One of my teammates had gotten hurt, and he needed someone to run an 800. And I was like, an 800, and I'm on the 4x4 relay, so I was like, okay. I mean, like 2 laps after I had broke, 3 records, and I'm looking like, okay, coach. And I went on and ran it, and when I finished the race, I was third leg actually. When I passed the baton, I stepped off the track and collapsed. And Coach Rosen was standing there with a cup of water, and he said, I heard you were a basketball player and you coming to Auburn. And it stuck, he was really nice to me. And he, and he said, I hope that when you come to Auburn, you'll think about competing in track. And my first year, I didn't play as much as I thought I would at Auburn. Mm-hmm. And I, coming in, high school All-American with all the credentials, I thought I was going to play right away. And I played more than any other freshman from Coach Champion's account, but it wasn't enough for me. So track gave me an opportunity to burn off some of that extra energy I had. And so I competed, and, they would fly me from games to championships. And my first meet, I flew from a basketball game the night we played. We had lost the game, and they flew me from that game to the meet in Florida, and I placed second in the SEC.
Wow, like Deion Sanders, huh?
Yes.
I hadn't practiced. I had not practiced.
Wow.
So I knew then that, maybe that I should do both. Mm-hmm. And, everybody was talking about bow nose, but, I was like, well, I guess low and nose too.
Low nose too.
Loretta, this is in my office. This is a picture in my office here at Coach Rosen. Yes. I ran for him as well, but he was a great, great guy. And,
yes, but Coach Rosen
really,
he was. He was really special, and he loved me.
He would recruit the other athletes. He'd come out there, ask Coach Jordan if me and Mike Fuller could go and run track, and then we went up, promptly pulled muscles, and Coach Jordan got pissed off. Wouldn't let us run anymore.
Yeah. So, well, I pulled my hamstring at one of the meets, and Coach Champion was livid. Yeah. Triple jump, and we had a game, and I went like I normally do, go to the track meet, and I hadn't stretched well enough and pulled that hamstring. Coach Champion was livid. Yeah. And I was like, and he said, you need to leave that track stuff alone. I said, I said, I got it. Coach Rosen said if I decided to run track, I got a full scholarship, so don't play me.
All right.
That's pretty funny.
Tell us about being a missionary in Costa Rica and Peru and Ethiopia, and how'd you decide to do that? What was that like?
Well, a friend of mine from church asked. I was attending a church back in my hometown, and they it was the talk of it came up, and I was interested just because it was a place I like to travel, and so that's what initially got me, and to serve others in a foreign country is like a blessing. I mean, to be able to serve, and you serve in different ways, because it's not always someone needs food or things that you can give them, but sometimes it's just they need love, or they need a positive message. Mm-hmm. So it opened my eyes up to a different area of service, and I think that was the beginning of me, because now I serve as a minister in my church, associate minister in my church, and so that kind of opened a door to how the Word of God and bringing life to other places, and it was a great experience. So the first mission trip was one I took on faith because I was just I thought it was quite expensive to travel abroad initially, and my minister at the time told me, he said, just pray about it and see what happens. And I did. So and then I was working as a teacher and part-time at Walmart with my sister, I was working customer service at Walmart and doing some things. And people would just come up to me like, I heard you were going on a mission trip, and someone gave me a check, and people just giving me money and different things. And somebody donated some toys to give to kids, and somebody donated workbooks because we were doing like a sport camp. My first mission trip was a sport camp, and they were just donating things, and I'm like, man. So when I can literally say God worked that out for me because He gave me everything I needed. The financial means to go, the things to share with the kids, all kind of supplies. I mean, I didn't have to come out of pocket on anything, and that was the first thing. I was still running at that time and didn't want to be a minister, but to be able to serve in that capacity, because it took the gifts that I was given in sport and my love for sports to another country, and I got to share with those kids and to see them running and trying to shoot baskets and doing stuff that I enjoy. It was a blessing to me. So the honor was in service, but I'm the one that got blessed in that situation, and and being able to see some beautiful places, and my favorite trip was Tacna, Peru, because in Peru, I got treated like I got a chance to see what people complain about reverse discrimination. But having dark skin in Peru, I was treated like a queen for real. I'm like, I mean, they were making people get up so I could sit down in line in the grocery store. I mean, they put me to the front of the line at restaurants. I was with a group of people. Now I'm the only African American, and I got first class treatment in everywhere we went. And it was so, I was like, wow, this must be what it felt like in the States to be like. But for me, it was eye opening the difference, But I really enjoyed serving, and it really taught me the importance of serving others and bringing light to dark places, even with your smile, or your gift that God has given you. So it allowed me to find a different part of myself, and those children they bless my heart. I love kids, and the kids I met and the people I met in those foreign countries are still good friends. I still keep contact, and I may send donations here and there sometimes just to help out, because I know what they're doing is important. And we were at most of the trips, we spreading a positive message, but we're also spreading love around the world. And right now, that's what's needed. I mean, we look at what's going on now. If more people spread love instead of hate, this world would be a different place. So I think that it's so important to share your gifts in a positive way by serving others.
That's great. Michael, Barbara.
Yes, Loretta, I'd like to ask you this. Tell me this. What lesson did you learn from basketball that has helped you the most after your basketball days in life?
So many lessons. I guess the most profound lesson is how to overcome adversity. I mean, I tell you, mine started very early. It didn't start when I got to college. I was a teenage mom. Now at the pinnacle of my high school success is when I found out I was going to be a mother. My first child, and so that in itself was challenging, because people tend to judge you. They don't know the whole story, but they tend to judge you and think that you're something that you're not. I was called everything but a child of God, and my life is over, and I'm not gonna be able to accomplish this and do that. So starting out, that's how it started. And I remember those same people my senior year, because that happened my junior year. My senior year, the same people turned the tide again, and now they put me on a pedestal because I'm Christian Athlete of the Year, and I'm lettered in all sports. I'm all state, all county, all world, whatever. I'm getting ready to go to Auburn. So I've learned to trust God and not let people define what success is for me. But having to overcome adversity from a very young age has taught me that, even at your lowest point, that God is there with me. It strengthened my faith in God, and it's gave me a place where no matter what happens in my life, whether it's an injury, a car accident, or me falling off a four-wheeler, breaking my wrist, which I did right during the Christmas holidays, and I'm back to normal. But it taught me to live. It taught me to live. And I know that I can overcome adversity because I have a strength that nobody can take from me, that power is something that people don't control. So yeah, how to work well with others is something I learned, and how to overcome adversity.
And Lo, I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but you have a phenomenal life story. You should write a book or write a movie script or something about your life, because it is just amazing. A young mother at the age of 17, going on to college and being totally successful there, getting your undergraduate degree, 2 master's degrees, serving as a missionary, playing overseas, and now a minister and working on your PhD. That is just phenomenal. And I've said it at the beginning, I'm going to tell you again, I am so very proud of you. You're an outstanding young woman. Thank you for what you've accomplished in life.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I don't really think of it as it's just living. I mean, I've been afforded a lot of great opportunities, and when people, it's nothing special that I've done. I've just lived life, and when one door closed, another one opened, and I just walked through that one and tried something new. And once my career ended, I knew that I wanted to teach. So I got certified to teach, and I went to teach. And when teaching got boring, I said, okay, time for me to move on to something else. And
yes.
So I just never really looked at it as a failure, or I just looked at that thing ended, and it's time for me to evolve into something else.
Do something
use
else.
my gift in a different way. Yeah.
So what's next? You've accomplished all of these things. You're getting your PhD very soon. You served as a coach. You want to get back into coaching? Is that a desire? Do you want to go on to teach at the collegiate level, or what is your next level where you want to go?
That's a good question. I want to. You were talking about my book. You were talking about writing a book. I actually wrote it. I do write. I journal, and I do have a manuscript called, and I call it Getting Low.
Okay.
But once I complete my dissertation and defend, I think I will be maybe defending this fall. But once I finish that, and I like to serve, so I thought about writing more. But I like what I'm doing now. I love what I'm doing now, helping young people, young men actually right now, but helping young people to find good in this dark world. And a lot of the kids I work with are at risk, and they've been through trauma, and being able to use the research that I'm doing now in my dissertation to help people. So my dissertation is on post-traumatic growth and how you can take the bad and make good of it. So take and get motivated, or a change takes place when you're going through adversity. And so I've lived it. So doing research on it has really inspired me to do more research and figure out a way to transform how we treat our trauma victims. Because a lot of times it's all about post-traumatic, depression and the negative, and they focus on the bad that occurs after trauma, but nobody focuses on what good comes out of bad situations. And I think I'll use my research to help with that aspect of looking at good things that come out of bad situations. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, I'd like to ask her, what's her pick for the Final Four, men's and women?
Well, I'll start with the men. I'm going with Duke. It's Coach K, his final run at it, and I think that they're going to surprise everyone. And with Villanova, I have Villanova, but with Villanova having that injury, I'm gonna go with Duke. And for the women, I have to support my SEC sister, but I have Stanford and South Carolina playing for the championship, and I'm pulling for Don, but I think Stanford's gonna probably pull it out. They are much more talented. They have much more balance as far as offense, and they're just a great team. So I think Stanford and Duke will be my picks. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let me wrap this up and move on. I've got to go back and bring Sean on to do her Got a Minute, because obviously I made a mistake here and didn't do that. So Sean, if you're out there, come on and do Got a Minute for us, please.
Good morning. My name is Sean Jones, and this is Got a Minute. Happy Tuesday to everyone joining in with us this morning. We are in the home stretch of Women's Her Story Month, and it feels like I'm part of the Twilight Zone because it flew by so quickly. Am I right? Right. Well, today I'm sharing something I like to call By the Numbers. This is where I share some amazing stats about women in the world today. Let's get into it. Did you know that today, 71% of moms with kids under 18 work, versus in 1975, fewer than 47% did? Or how about at the first Winter Olympic Games in 1924, the only event open to women was figure skating, where only 15 women participated in these games? Wow. Or how about in the early years of the blues, from 1910 to 1925, the vast majority of singers were women? How about this? Upon her husband's death, Cherokee leader Nancy Ward took his place in a 1775 battle against the Creeks and led the Cherokee to victory. I bet you didn't know Wyoming was the first state to grant women the right to vote. Gotta love women, right? Right. Well, the motto of today is keep other people's crazy out of your head. Thank you for joining in. My name is Sean Jones, and this is Got a Minute.
Well, let me. Good job, Sean. Let me go back and let's give Sean a hand. And we need. Loretta, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure I'll see you down on the plains at some time soon. But as a matter of fact, I'll be down there this afternoon. So, now that I think about it. But thank you so much. It was wonderful.
It
That's my
was.
pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right. So let's close out. Closing commentary, or as I see it. Let me close out Women's History Month with a recap of the month and the women we were fortunate enough to honor. Rochelle Jamerson Holmes, an entrepreneur, president of ABWA, American Business Women's Association, owner of a bed and breakfast in South Carolina, and famous for her famous sweet tea. Nancy Francis is a marketer and chairman of Impact 100 in Northwest Florida. Thank you, Nancy. Joyce Gilly Gossam, who sat in for a guest that could not make it. Joyce is past chair of Impact 100 and serves as the princess at Best Girl Inc. And today, Loretta Freeman Booker. We thank all these ladies and continue to commend them for the wonderful contributions they are making to history and to our society. And this morning, Joyce Gilly Gossam and I were talking, and she mentioned that perhaps there will come a day when we don't have to have Women's History Month, Black History Month, Hispanic History Month, and so on and so forth. We can just talk about history, but then we have to talk about all of history and not selected history. So hopefully we'll get there, and we look forward to that day. So stay safe, okay? And don't let the politics get you down. And that's how I see it on this March 29th in the year 2022. And that's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank Michael. Thank Barbara. Thank our G-List guest. She was outstanding, Loretta Freeman Booker. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc., and Emily Hedrick, Sean Jones, Joyce Gilly Gossam, and everybody else on the Best Girl team that contributes to the show. Thank you all. Remember to enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Peace.